So what he was able to show is that CD is the drag coefficient on a plate of length L, and suppose its width is B, B, small b. So B is the depth of the plate inside the blackboard. Then this would be equal to the force, the drag force that the plate feels, divided by half rho u square. So that's the dynamic pressure, non-dimensionalized with an area, and the area I would take as L times B. And Fd is the drag force that would simply be integral from 0 to L, the shear stress on the plate times the area, which is B because it's the depth of the plate, times dx. And I can work this out. So you can put in the expression for tau wall that I have written over there, and what we will find is that CD will be given as 1.328 by square root of REL. So that's the skin friction resistance to a plate. So if I pull a plate, or in other words, if I have a plate over which there is a uniform flow, then the drag felt because of the skin friction is given by this expression for one side. So this is for one side, one wet side. If both sides of the plate are encountering the flow, then of course you would have to double this. Great. A question that you could ask is, what happens if my plate is extremely long? Okay, L is very large. Then just like in a pipe, the flow could actually become turbulent. So flow can become turbulent beyond a certain RE. In fact, what I would like to show you is that if I take a flat plate and I draw a boundary layer on it, what could happen is I could get a laminar boundary layer, and then after some time it goes through some transition, just as we saw in flow inside a pipe, the experiments of Professor Osborne Reynolds, and then you could have a turbulent boundary layer. Okay. Now, where exactly the transition begins and it ends depends on a variety of things, just like we saw in the pipe. It would depend on the speed of the flow, for sure. It would depend on the viscosity of the fluid. It would depend on the environmental conditions, how about the vibrations, and it would depend on the roughness, how rough is your plate. So this could occur at a small distance, or if you make the plate extremely smooth, then it could occur far away. In fact, I want to show you for a wing of an aircraft. This is often a problem. So if you look at a top view of an aircraft, suppose this is my wing. Airflow comes like this. This hardly looks like an aircraft. I am sorry for the poor picture. Some sweep back. So if it's a aircraft in cruise, you are going to get an attached flow on the wing of the aircraft, okay? Hardly any flow separation. And whether you have a laminar flow or a turbulent flow would determine what is the drag of an aircraft and therefore the fuel that you consume. Ideally, you would like the flow to be laminar, and I will show you in a moment that the drag coefficient for a turbulent flow is much larger than for a laminar flow, okay, for a flat plate. Now, if you have the surface which is dirty, so I am a pilot, I fly the aircraft and I land, and perhaps some insects get stuck to the wing of the aircraft or some dust particles, and then I take off again without cleaning my wing, it could be dirty. Then what could happen is my boundary layer could become turbulent right here. So this is the turbulent part and this is the laminar part, and I would incur a huge drag. Versus if I polish or wash my aircraft nicely before another takeoff, keep it clean, it's possible that I may get laminar up to a long point and turbulent a little bit later, okay. So we have not changed the design of the aircraft, we have not changed anything, but simply by maintaining your aircraft clean, you can actually affect the transition point and save on the fuel. Okay, so let's talk a little bit very briefly about the drag coefficient that one would expect on a turbulent flow past a plate. So I am not going to give you too many details, but I will just show you a possible velocity profile and then give you some expressions. If I did the following, if I tried to plot what is Vx by u versus y by delta, let us say this is 0, this is 1, this is 1. Then we have seen that for a laminar boundary layer, perhaps I would see a profile like this. So this is laminar, okay. What is the kind of profile that I would see for a turbulent flow? It turns out a turbulent flow is much thicker. So this is delta. So delta for turbulent flow is usually larger than delta for a laminar flow for the same Reynolds number, okay. So if I somehow maintained a laminar boundary layer at a given Reynolds number and I allowed the boundary layer to become turbulent for the same Reynolds number, then the boundary layer thickness is larger for the turbulent boundary layer. But here I have non-dimensionalized it, okay, it's both are with delta. So this is the laminar profile. How would the turbulent profile look like? Actually it is very steep near the wall. So you would get something like this, and then it kind of does this. So this is laminar, sorry, turbulent. Okay. So right away you can see that if I looked at the skin friction, which is mu del Vx by del y, then mu of course is same whether the flow is laminar or turbulent, that is the viscosity of the fluid. But the del Vx del y, the velocity gradient, is much larger for the turbulent flow. This is much steeper. I must caution you, this is the distance and this is the speed. So be careful when you calculate del Vx del y. So this is much steeper profile, so it has a much larger gradient. So therefore the skin friction because of a turbulent boundary layer is expected to be much larger than the skin friction for a laminar boundary layer. Okay. So this is what would happen on the plate. I would have a certain drag coefficient for this part of the plate, and for the same part of the plate in the turbulent flow the drag coefficient would be much larger. How about the expressions? Typically, a turbulent flow has a power law velocity profile. So, velocity profile for turbulent boundary layer on flat plate. Obviously, I am not deriving this, I am just giving you an expression just to expose you. So, typically it would be of this nature, Vx by u, that is the non-dimensional x velocity. This would vary as y by delta. With the power law, the coefficient is 1 by 7. And this coefficient can actually change. It would depend on the roughness of the plate. So, to give you an example, if I look at the atmospheric boundary layer on Earth, so I could measure, for example, the boundary layer in a large field which is extremely clean, very flat. So, I would get 0 speed on the ground, and then as I go up a few hundred meters, then I would see larger speed. Okay. I would get a boundary layer profile very similar to what we have drawn earlier. Okay. So, that would be one profile. Now, I make a measurement, let us say in a city area where there are buildings, there are trees, there are small hills, and there the profile could look different because there are so many obstructions. Okay. So, both are turbulent flows, but the profiles could be different. Okay. So, they act, the trees, the buildings, they would act as roughness elements. Okay. So, this is one example where you get a power law profile. Typically, if I look at my delta by x, that would vary as, let us say, 0.35 Reynolds number of x raised to minus 1 by 5. And if I assume that my flat plate has a boundary layer which is turbulent right from the beginning, so this is all turbulent, and this is my x. Okay, so this is my boundary layer, the flat plate. Then it is possible to show that my CD for the turbulent is something like 0.072 Re raised to minus 1/5. Just to put this in perspective, if I draw a diagram, so this is my Reynolds number and this is my drag coefficient. This is what I would see for laminar. On a log scale. So, I am plotting on a log scale. But if you see for a turbulent, then it would look something like this. This is for smooth. So, at a given Reynolds number, my turbulent flow has a much larger skin friction resistance compared to a laminar. And then if I take roughness, then I would get different curves. So, this is how I have increasing roughness. So, if you remember the Moody's charts that I showed you for flow through a pipe, okay, as we increase the roughness of the pipe, then you would get a larger skin friction, a larger resistance. The same thing happens for a flat plate, okay, very, very similar. So if you had a very rough flat plate, you would get more drag. If you had a smooth plate, then you would have less drag. And of course, if you are able to maintain a laminar boundary layer, that is the best, you would have very low skin friction.